Janice was off her shift already. The night with Butcher, and the ice in his car. She had left me a coffee at her desk before she had grabbed Mitchie from the hospital daycare and packed him into her station wagon. It was a thanks for consoling her earlier. Her ex-husband had been threatening a custody battle for months, and the papers had finally hit her mailbox this morning. Her ex-husband was a lawyer. Janice made about $46,000 a year with overtime. Butcher's fiancé was on bed rest, still holding on to the idea of a post-holiday return. He had lost a patient that night. Not his first as chief resident, but his most formative, certainly. A choice he had made. A cavalier flick of his wrist that caused a flatline. No attending's direction, no textbook, just something he hoped would help and gain him praise. His brother, his father's first heir and therefore first lieutenant, had graced us with his presence by watching the procedure from the gallery with us. We all heard him yelling at Butcher by the scrub sink later, watched Butcher approach us with bloodshot eyes and a reddened cheek. Butcher was smart, of course, but his brother was legend. Youngest chief resident in 2 decades, fellowship offers abound straight after. Highest revenue-producing attending now, a fact he is unafraid to flaunt about in the hospital. My mother would have said he had every right to boast, and to yell at Butcher, to slap. It was a simple procedure, really. Butcher was spending too much time with his girlfriend, playing house, playing father. Butcher, you've been embarrassing us. Butcher, your little fiancé dropped out of the program thanks to you, and you do this. Butcher, you'll have nothing left if you lose this. Butcher, you're not me. Butcher, you can't be. You're not good enough. Butcher, wake up. Little League, football, student body elected officials, the prize Butcher's sons had seen it all together, despite nearly a decade's worth of years between their ages. Butcher's life ended a little for a while after his brother spoke to him like that, slapped him like that. To be reprimanded by the man he had written his college admissions essay on. Poor thing. His heart had stopped like the patience he had lost on the table. Our shift ended. I remember watching him put his face in his palms as he sat on the metal bench in the resident changing room. Med students circled around him like ants in a colony, then, slowly, flitted away, too tired to tame the whispers, but too tired to stick around for more, pointing looks of pity in his direction. I remember considering whether to go and put my hand on his shoulder, tell him I was sorry we all had tuned in. I gave him the room instead, and headed for my car. In the front waiting area, lingerers of Butcher's cohort still had his name on their lips. The ordeal being treated as gossip felt trite to me, and the pairs of whisperers just made me miss Janice. I went on, past the coffee cart in its vacant corner, the front doors, the metal detector. The parking lot was an abyss of slick pavement, laminated with black ice. I think it was November, or maybe just December. I edged my way to my car at the end of the lot, cursing the Converse I had chosen to wear on this iceless morning. My Hyundai shone with melting snow in the distance, the blue-ribboned finish line. Almost there. I slipped and fell face first into the concrete about a quarter of the way to my destination, using my bag to soften my fall. A groan emanated from my gut, and blood from my nose, as hot pain made its frenzied way down my chest and thighs. I went to push myself to stand, unthinking in my addled state, but could not. Another's hands had stopped me. Try to flip over and lay still. Just want to make sure nothing's broken before you get up again. That was a bad fall. It was Butcher, all wrapped up in a puffy red jacket and a woolly scarf. There were 2 of him. I did as I was told. His hands searched up and down my arms, legs, torso, and then finally my head and face. He wiped away the worst of the red slick on my upper lip with his glove. A moment later, blue eyes peered into mine, and Butcher made a light sound of reproach. Not enough light. Come on, let me help you to my car. We'll get you back to the hospital if anything is seriously wrong. Does anything hurt? My body? Butcher let out what I could only assume was a helpless laugh. Okay, no problem. Good thing you're with a doctor. I'm a doctor. I know. I've seen you around the hospital. Can you walk, do you think? I think. I slowly rose. While the world did not spin, it teetered, and my hand went to grab at Butcher's arm. He moved so he was just about stooping at my side and put my arm around his shoulder. We clambered to his Jeep. My nose leaked. He opened the back door and I poured in. There was an unopened baby car seat on the floor. It looked complicated and expensive and heavy. Standard protocol. Ignore the mess, Butcher apologized as he removed his gloves. I blearily managed to locate stray napkins at the bottom of my purse, bunched them up, and put them to my nostrils. Congratulations. The baby and the engagement. Appreciate it. Butcher flipped on the car ceiling light and stared for about 10 Mississippis into each of my eyes, deciding. No pupil dilation. I think you're in the clear. I nodded as slowly as I could manage. Thanks. Might want to invest in boots. I laughed. I'm just not very good at planning. I never look at the forecast before I leave in the morning. Butcher lifted his foot to my view. It was Converse-clad too. Me neither. I smiled at him. Thanks again for the assist. I should probably get home and ice up before tomorrow. Back again. Well, at least let me drive you to your car. It's fine. It's 2 seconds away. Please. Occasionally, turning down a kindness is foolish. I thought this was one of those times. But he shouldn't have known what your car looked like. Okay, thank you. You don't have to. Butcher leaned over the driver's seat to start his SUV, midriff peeking from under his coat. He procured his keys from his pant pocket and flicked on the engine. He was still somewhat tan, even in the sunless winter. His face was losing the red tinge the cold outside had brought, but the blush spot from the slap was still somewhat apparent. It's not a problem. I need to help someone today. You had to inform the family? Butcher sat back beside me and fiddled with his name tag keychain. The car smelled of heat. The attending thought it would be good practice, or said it would be. I think she just wanted to punish me. People die. It wasn't your fault. We're here to learn, right? They've killed people too. My brother's been on a winning streak since August. Since August. Not forever. Butcher smiled. I remember feeling pleased with myself at it. Still missing Janice, but a little starved of human connection outside her and cloud watching with Mitchie. Butcher is the pretty type of boy. Blue eyes, honey lashes, clean jaw, an angel of Michelangelo's. I remember thinking his girlfriend was lucky she had found one of the good ones. More than anything, I remember wanting ice for my head. We sat near each other at Nelson's last seminar, right? Butcher asked. I nodded. Our program supervisor talks about you all the time, even to my cohort. Says you got steady hands. High praise from her. You're a couple years behind me, right? Watch out, you might take my job and be the next youngest chief resident. Still thinking of changing specialties? How he had known about that, I never did figure out. I never have time to think. Butcher laughed. What would you switch to anyway? Gynecology, maybe, if it's still legal to study by the time we graduate. Still happy with general? I was starting to lose hope he would get to the front soon, but at least he was seeming to be enjoying the conversation. Maybe he was keeping his mind off things. Good practice for bedside manner, I assumed. It'll do. My fiancé is grateful for it. Better schedule for when our girl comes. Fair. What do you want? Butcher laughed. I envied the janitors. He regarded me. Does your family have a say in what you choose? I ran away from home, I deadpanned. Butcher's mouth opened, but no sound came out. I'm kidding. Kind of. But no, my mother does not have a say in what I do. No one does. I do not envy you. Butcher looked down at his keys again. I'm sure you heard what happened by the sink. Sorry for the noise. Ian got my dad's lungs. I'm sorry that happened to you. Don't worry. I've gotten used to it. Getting it from all sides nowadays. Not the best background noise for studying or sleeping, but he shrugged. I was not quite sure what to say, so I repeated myself. I don't envy you. I do. You don't. Despite it all, they care in their own strange way. They're here. You're about to be a surgeon with a wife and a surgeon in training coming soon. You're getting there. You'll get there. Butcher still made no move to the driver's seat as he conceded with a short nod. The ceiling light was still on too, making my vision thick with bright stars. I just wish I could forget for a second, you know? Just not be me. For a little while. Does he have no one else to talk about this with? I supposed I was a bit of a hypocrite, but I was growing doubtful of his thumbs-up diagnosis. My head was pounding between his words, and my nose was leaking too steadily to not be broken. If you forget, you'll lose sight of why you're here. I told him what I told myself, even then. Persevere. It is in this moment that Butcher kisses me. At once, it is unpleasant. The kiss that men think women secretly crave, a crashing of chapped lips and stale breath. I mumble protest against his mouth. I remember the ice. This is wrong. This is wedding bands and car seats. Butcher, I push at his chest. Butch. His hands go to my hair. For a moment, he is carting careful fingers through the strands, almost petting me. I wonder how long I will have to put up with all this tenderness before I can make another attempt to break away. His poor fiancé, he is no luck. Then, Butcher is bashing my head against the car seat box. My eyelashes clump with my own blood as my body crumples like a Barbie with broken joints. He is upon me at once, petting my crimsoned hair now with one hand, sliding off my Converse with the other, and then undoing the button of my jeans. I can recall finding the strength to raise my hand, to find the door, the window, a button, and escape. Butcher gives it a slap as resounding as the one he received from his brother, and pins it under his, now limp. I just want to forget, for a little while. He says again, almost to himself. I want you to help me forget. Help me heal. Be my doctor now. I'll be fast, baby. Won't you help me forget? Give me your brilliance. Show me those fast hands. Let's forget together. He is not fast. The only thing I forget is my name at the bottom of his car. When he is through, he drives me to my car, as promised, half rifling through my bag to find my keys and half swerving about to miss patches of ice. We arrive promptly. He wraps me in his jacket, deposits me in my passenger seat, and stands there. I wonder if he is considering killing me. He ultimately decides and closes the door. The brights of his Jeep draw in the veins of my eyelids. He has left. Sometime later, I found my body again. I wailed at what was left of my limbs and went to call Janice. She did not answer. I did not know what time it was. I fell asleep in the icy parking lot. The next morning, since I was already there, I went to work. Upon my arrival, my supervisor asked me what candy my cohort liked, like I knew any of them well enough to answer. Why, ma'am? I said instead. Oh, y'all's favorite receptionist died last night on her way home. Her ex-husband called this morning to let us know. Car hit a tree, head through a windshield. Baby Mitchie's gone too, poor thing. She put him in the passenger seat. I thought candy might break the news easier.